All right, Rob, there was a big story today in The Athletic about turmoil and tension kind of bubbling underneath with the Clippers, the L.A. Clippers.
Mm-hmm.
And Rob G is going to summarize it for us. Now, keep in mind, Rob G, he's loving this story. He's a Laker fan.
Well, this the story was for Laker fans to read. That's what this. I'm serious. This was the story that was
to get
written.
them feeling good about themselves.
Exactly. That's exactly what this was.
Go ahead, Rob G. Summarize.
Well,
it.
this was some great investigative work done by Sam Amick and Jovan Buha of The Athletic. And a lot of it focused on the Clippers. And I know that they're the second team.
The whole story was
the entire
Clippers.
thing focused on the Clippers.
Right.
But, the Lakers are the team in L.A., so we're used to drama coming out of the Lakers locker room. But this was different because, as you said, it detailed a little bit of drama building underneath the surface in the Clipper locker room. And a lot of it focused, it's a very long piece, I don't want to read the whole thing, but a lot of it focused on teammates being upset about the preferential treatment, specifically the load management of Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. They didn't like that as soon as these guys showed up, they didn't have to practice anymore. They weren't playing back-to-backs. And it also, one of the quotes that was included in the piece, people are upset that Kawhi is not a vocal kind of a guy, obviously. So when your leader, who doesn't have to practice, doesn't have to go to games, also isn't your vocal leader, he doesn't really relate to a lot of the players. So here's the quote. It boils down to Kawhi not talking, and so who is their true leader? How do you get around that fact? End quote.
Because Paul George is not quite
he's
as
similar. He also does. He's not very vocal.
Much of a recluse as Kawhi.
But
he also is a quiet guy.
Tell The Athletic to call the players in Toronto and ask them. Ask them how that championship
It's
feels.
funny how you brought that up, Rob, because it mentioned specifically about Kawhi Leonard that this is not the first time that some people have been kind of put off by his personality, for lack of a better word, for refusing to want to put himself in harm's way and quote-unquote load manage. They brought up him ghosting the Spurs when he was rehabbing his quad injury. And the second one, which was very underreported, probably because they're in Toronto, he decided he was going to sit out a few, not even back-to-back games, just because he said, hey, I'm resting myself. And he would give a team very short notice that he wasn't planning on playing, while guys like Kyle Lowry, Fred VanVleet were playing banged up, and they were a little miffed by that.
No, I get it. This is his MO, and this is what he's had great success so far in the NBA. And until, as you say, until they don't win, then you could criticize them. And that's really what it comes. Chris, if they win the championship, and he did it his way again, he was Frank Sinatra, and things worked out, and he took off 20 games, and they wind up winning at the end, no one will have an issue. If that doesn't happen, then the Clippers organization and other players can say, see, this is Wayne Wright. He did all that, and he wasn't ready. He didn't play well in the postseason. Then it opens up a lot for criticism.
Yeah, do you agree with my premise, Robin? I've said it before on the show. If you have this type of load management, you better win it. Now, I get that if they beat the Lakers, say, in the Western Conference Finals and then lose in the tough series
it still would
Milwaukee,
be. It still would be.
Nobody's going to kill them. But I say the only way to justify this type of 20, 22 games off a season is to win the championship.
Yep.
You tend to agree with that?
I do.
Yeah, so you're right. I mean, look, I'm not
a load management guy, and I think Kawhi is a tremendous player, and I picked him to win. But I'm just, if you're healthy, you should play.
Right.
That's just
yeah.
If you're not, I get it.
They brought up something interesting in the article. They said they were theorizing how, look, we understand how the load management, the concept, can naturally rub people the wrong way. Like, what if I had load management? I did the show twice a week or 3 times a week, and you had to do it every day.
And when you came back, I wouldn't be here because I wouldn't go.
Right, well, there you go. You know what I'm saying? So you can see how it can rub people the wrong way. But let me put it this way. What if we did it that way and the show was wildly popular and you were getting paid millions because of it? Then you might be like, look, I'll put up with it.
Because we're winning, we got ratings, and we're getting paid.
And and then once it sinks, though, You're like, no, this is some craziness. So
That's fair.
I look at the Clippers on the court. And what I see, and I'm not, look, Sam Amick, Johan, they're good reporters, so I'm not doubting their reporting at all. But what I'm looking at them on the court, and I don't see issues like this.
Boy, look, if that's issues with where they are, Chris, I mean, considering where like the Lakers started and some of these other, where are they?
They're third in the West, the third best record. They're a half game behind Utah, who has the second best record, and 4.5 games behind the Lakers. And they've beaten the Lakers twice. Once without Paul George. They're 14-4 with Kawhi and Paul George playing together.
That's a nice record.
Yeah, they're like 18-6, I believe, with Kawhi only, and they're 5-6 without Kawhi. And so they clearly need him. And Rob, again, it's kind of like Zion. He was out of shape and he did that. Wow, I'm impressed.
Right.
I'm looking at the Clippers like they don't practice much. Paul George has been kind of in and out of the lineup. Kawhi is doing load management. And Patrick Beverly's been hurt, nicked up here and there. And they're still winning and beating some of the best teams in the league. Now, their record is, we talked about the Lakers 5-5 against the top 4 in each conference. The Clippers' record is somewhat similar. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's around there as well. But they've lost some of those games without Kawhi. Utah beat them without Kawhi.
Right, and so you can look at it and go, they haven't even if they had that record and those guys were playing, then maybe you would look. But when you look at it and say they're 14-4, when both of those guys are playing, you got to feel good about that. And eventually, at the end of the year, those guys will be there.
Right.
And then you got to say, okay, how are you going to beat them? Remember, how are you going to beat them 4 times? It ain't just about beating them 1 time.
Yep.
You can beat a lot of teams. If it was when Michael Jordan played and it was a single game elimination, he would not have 6 championships. Because you could beat somebody in one game.
Good point.
You could have an off night, right? You could miss a shot and somebody could come in and play big. But you're not beating Michael Jordan 4 times in a 7 games. It's not happening.
Right. No, that's a great point. And I did my power rankings today, my top 5. I don't need to do 30 teams. Is anybody
I was going to say,
is anybody really
5.
looking past 10, if not 5?
I was going to say.
Right. So my top 5, at 5, I had Miami.
Number
at 4, I had Utah.
Number 3.
I had the Lakers.
What?
Yes.
Number 2.
Wait a minute.
Milwaukee.
Go back to 3.
Number 3.
What? The
Lakers, they got to start beating. I'm looking at that game Tuesday against the Clippers.
Wow.
So
they got to start beating some of the better teams.
So you put down your pom-poms before you put out this list?
Well, I don't own any pom-poms. But like you said, we pick a team and you want your picks to win. So I did pick them in the preseason. Obviously, we'll make our picks again going into the playoffs. And right now, I think the Clippers are the best team. Right now, they're number 1.
Number 1. Wow.
Now, they look – again, they've beaten the Lakers twice.
If they beat them a third
LeBron's
time –
been a little tentative. AD scored 4 points in the fourth quarter of each game.
Right.
I mean,
total,
combined,
right?
Total, yeah.
Right.
I got to see something from the Lakers to tell me the Clippers also are hungry, they're tenacious, they're gritty, and they want a title. I haven't seen that from the Lakers.
Right. No,
So
there is a difference, and I'll say this, that when you look at the Clippers, to me, it just seems like they know what they're doing. They know where they want to go. They're not like, we're trying to have the best record in the league, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do that, and then win the top. It seems like they're on a schedule. They know they're going to win enough games to make the playoffs. They don't have to be the 1 seed.
Right. I think they want a top 4 seed.
Right, as long as then you have home court. I
right.
get that. That's all you need to do and play for, and they've won enough games. Sure, they've been nice. They lost to the Hawks the other night, right?
Well, now, Beverly, to our point,
right.
Beverly, George, and Kawhi sat out.
So and so they lost. So there are games like that where you look and go, they lost to the Hawks. They didn't have their players. You think they would have lost to the Hawks if those 3 guys were playing?
Not at all. Now, and Rob, look, we've been covering the league I've covered it 26 years. You covered it since the late 80s. We know as well.
Since they had laces in the basketball.
We know as well that championship teams don't always get along. It's not always everybody hanging out together and, going to movies on the road and all that. Heck, Kyrie left Cleveland after winning the championship.
Right.
So this. This does not have to mean they're not going to be a great team. Kevin Durant, I've heard stories. Now, granted, last year they didn't win it, but we all believe had they stayed healthy, they would have won it. I've been told Kevin Durant, players in the league, Kevin Durant, he was checking the clock last year. Really wasn't engaging with many people, obviously to a little bit, but wasn't engaging with guys that much off the court. He was almost like a mercenary, players felt last year. He just was there to get that ring, and I think they would have had he not gotten hurt. And so, but yet, they still were able to be a great team.
Right. No, and we've seen teams in the past. One I'm very familiar with, there was a lot of bickering, a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff with the Pistons. I'm talking about the bad boy Pistons.
The original bad boys.
Exactly. And they had a lot of different personalities, and guys had fights and blow-ups and all kinds of stuff that was in there. And you would go like, well, how'd they win? We talk about the classics of Reggie Jackson when he joined the Yankees. Right. He had a fight with the manager in the dugout during the game, Billy Martin. Yep. Him and Thurman Munson didn't get along. But they won the World Series, right?
And the greatest example, of course, Shaq and Kobe.
Exactly.
And they won 3 straight.
Exactly. So that stuff goes on, and I don't think anybody, if you're a Laker fan and you're reading this and think somehow this is the demise of the Clippers and wait a minute, they don't get along and they're not holding hands and singing Kumbaya, you're going to be in for a rude awakening if you think that's going to undo them.
Right. I totally agree. I mean, heck, if there was somebody reporting about the Odd Couple, behind the scenes, sometimes we get into it. We better not see any anonymous quotes.
That's right, Rob.
We know who they'll come from.
He's already called the trade papers, the radio trade.
But you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like sometimes you working closely with people and you go at it, but that doesn't mean you're not. But I remember in college, Rob, I almost got in a fight with a guy my senior year. He was a freshman.
Really?
And we scrimmaging. And I think he got a little too physical or whatever. And we squared up.
Did you pick up a phone book?
We squared up. I just picked up my Dukes, all right? And we squared up. I was like, I'm going to knock you out.
You said it to him.
Right. And we didn't fight. But later that night, we were in the little club on campus sharing a drink together. You know what I mean? Like, we were cool. Like, so stuff happens in the heat of the moment. But there were also dudes on our team that just had beefs. And
Rob G,
we really didn't win a lot, but still, that wasn't why.
Who'd you call?
No, just one quick. It wasn't a call; it was an email.
Okay,
I want you to know that it's coming out tomorrow in Deadspin about what's going on with the Odd Couple.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, but real quick though, I must mention any guy who says we're about to fight before you fight, he's going to lose. So we know that wasn't going well for Chris Broussard.
You don't know me.
But the only thing is, Chris, I will say this: and when you said that, I'm going to knock you out. Normally, you couldn't have been really mad because normally, if you're really like that, you don't even warn the guy. Like if a guy crosses you.
Yeah, it wasn't
that's what I'm saying.
Right.
But I'm saying if a guy, I remember my freshman year I had a fight with my roommate in college. And it was dumb over nothing really. But he walked up to me, right, and got into my airspace. So once you're so close to me and there's an argument going on,
right.
I'm not waiting for you to hit me.
Did you sucker punch him?
I hit him. I did. Because you violated.
Knocked him out?
No, I just put a bruise on his face.
He didn't jump back.
And and then the other roommates jumped in. But my point was he violated my airspace. When a guy's that close to you, what can he do?
Can't do it.
He can punch you out.
Right.
Once
you
walk up to me like that close and there's an argument and you're like engaged or what is it called? Yeah.
No, you're right. Because you don't know.
I don't
mean,
know. I'm gonna stand there and let you come up to me and punch me in the face.
You ever
It ain't
heard the
happening.
stories of a guy, they're squared up chest to chest, and one guy starts taking off his jacket, and the other
guy
dude
hits
just
him.
like, dude,
Right.
you ain't got time for all that.
Right, you ain't taking off no jacket. I would swing too. Your hands are like locked into the jacket.
Right. What's happening, y'all? It's Chris Broussard,
I'm Rob Parker.
and we are
The Odd Couple. Check us out as often as you can on YouTube.
And always remember, I'm Oscar, and he's Felix.
Oh, man. Are you serious?